All right. Are we?
We are live, yes.
Okay, excellent. So sorry for the delay. It is, welcome to the HCC, everyone. It is Thursday, July 22nd, 2021. Oh, I'm 1 minute late. That's not so bad. So 1:01. And
Abby.
present at today's meeting, for the record, are Val Oliver, Terry Thornwell, John McLaughlin, the glamorous Abby Camp, and myself, Ray Pohl.
And Diane's on Zoom.
Oh, hi, Diane. I
And
didn't
Steve.
see you there. And Stephen. Okay, so for the record, Diane Coombs is with us and Stephen Welch. Thanks for telling me.
Well, that's true, because you can't see anything.
I can see a little owl. Okay, so a few things just before we get started. One, for anybody in the audience, if you want to record any portion of today's meeting with your own device, let us know in advance. And two, if you guys want to engage in some conversation over there while you're waiting for us to deliberate, could you go out in the hall just so that Terry can pick up what's being said at the table for the minutes? Thank you. All right, so first order of business would be to approve today's agenda. Do we have any? Thank you, Diane. I'm going to hold that just for a second. Okay, so yes. We're going to go with the agenda as printed. So on that motion, I'm going to say Val.
Aye.
Thank you. John. Let's go Carrie.
Aye.
And Diane on your motion.
Aye.
Thank you. And I'm in favor of that motion carries. So now we have an approved agenda. So we can go to public comment. Is there any at this time? Doesn't sound like it. Okay, so now we're going to move along to consent agenda.
I have to sit off.
Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on my paperwork.
Val's the only one.
Is Val the only person that needs to recuse from this?
Yeah. Yes, as far as I can see.
So it seems, okay, so you're gonna be on this, Diane, John, you're gonna be on this, I am, and Carrie and Stephen, right?
Abby?
Oh, sure, I'm sorry, Abby, yeah, I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's do Stephen. Because we just did you, right, Carrie?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so on the consent agenda, can I have a oh, Diane, you've made a motion, right?
Yeah.
No. Well, you didn't, but let's just say that you did. Diane has made a motion to approve the consent agenda. On that motion, Abby?
Aye.
Thank you. John?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
Thank you, Stephen. Diane, on your motion?
Aye.
I am in favor. That motion carries. So the consent is good. And now let's go to consent with conditions, 2 items. Yes, you do. Okay, so that's going to be the regular board. Can somebody give me a motion on that one?
Motion to approve consent with condition.
Thank you very much, Diane. On Diane's motion, John.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you, John. Abby.
Aye.
Thank you. Val.
Aye.
Thank you. And Diane, on your motion.
Aye.
Good. So that motion, oh, and I'm in favor. So motion carries. Great. Whole business. We have 3 items. And it would appear that for the first one, we have everyone we need. And even though the second one is not yet open, I'm gonna have the same board.
And I'm gonna talk about it. Rick is not here.
Okay, so that's fine, but I just like keeping continuity of the board from if there's multiple applications on a site. Okay.
Oh, I'm not on this.
We're not on this.
I'll live with you.
Okay, so Andrew, if you could just walk us through the
Sure.
revisions.
So Holly, I don't know if you're gonna so fortunately read H-Tab's comments or you want me to read them? I was fortunate enough to be part of the
Well,
conversation with
okay,
them.
so the way that we do this,
Yeah,
you're gonna present your revisions.
fine, great,
Okay, just walk us through them so that
Great.
we're all clear on what you've changed.
great,
And then we will hear Holly
great.
and ASAP.
What I would love if everyone would go to the site planning page and talk about that to start, because I mean, the revisions are pretty significant. And
Significant. Okay.
yeah, they're pretty significant.
That was great. Okay, go ahead.
So the board had, I think, several comments about the project the last time I was here. One of the main comments, aside from a whole host of sort of massing and fenestration conditions, was the lack of visibility of the front door from the street.
Correct.
I had previously had the guest house structure, which is the sort of third structure in front of the two garages off Easton Street, centered on the property, blocking the front door.
Right.
I have since shifted that over to the east and shifted the garage over to the west, creating a dead straight line from the curb cut so that you actually can see the front door from the street in what is the main mass of the house, going back on a straight axis.
Would that be here?
Yeah, right, that's it. Yep,
Okay, so that's your main.
That's your
mass,
main-
So it's not here,
correct.
because obviously that would be.
Correct, that's blocked. Additionally, the board had made a comment about the fact that I had the two garages right on Easton Street and it was creating a bit of a vertical wall, so I shifted the garages. One of them still remains tight onto the setback line and the second one is pushed back about 20 feet off of the setback line to create less of a vertical wall along Easton Street. Those are still very simple one-story garages, nothing too elaborate on them. The guest house has been completely redesigned, but that application isn't in front of you today. Previously, the main house was more of a U-shaped house with the pool nestled into the center of the courtyard. And I've since made it more of an L-shaped house, pulling a piece off, creating a studio, which is towards the western portion of the property as well. So that's kind of the site planning strategy. And I do want to talk a bit about, we can talk about it more with the landscape plan, but get a really good read today, because unfortunately it's been like almost 2 months since I was here for this application and time is ticking. And I want to really get some concrete feedback on the site planning itself. From the house standpoint, I've redesigned almost the whole thing. Creating more of a primary mass on the entry mass, which was a 1.5 story structure. And the board had suggested last time to give it a little more of a sort of dominant feature. If you want to go to the back, there's really good renderings in the back that show things straight on. If you want to go to the back of this packet, I don't know.
Let's give that a try.
Yeah, John's on. So the first one on page A901 gives you a sense of what it would look like, essentially what you would see from the street looking in. So the main mass comes out, there's a covered porch on it. It's more vertical. It's, as I said, a full 2 stories. We've now penetrated the 30-foot ridge height limit, which was something that we talked about last time, pushing a little higher, not having it be so crunched down. You can see the studio building onto the right that sort of sits off of it, and then the guest house onto the left, but there's a clean axis looking forward. If you then go to the next page, you get a sense of what's inside the courtyard. Again, I think the visibility of that is somewhat limited, but most of it is a 1.5 story structure. I added a lot more wraparound porches from a lot of the historic photos that I looked at of houses that were built down in this area, they actually have a lot of porches on them. So I sort of took that to heart and added more on 3 elevations of the home. Then the next one is really just the side elevation, the west side elevation, which doesn't have a tremendous amount of visibility. But then the next 2 give you a sense of what the house would look like from the water. You'll hear when Holly reads HSAB's comments, they actually don't like the house. They'd rather see one big box, not a house that is sort of broken into a series of hierarchical massings, which is contradictory to a lot of what I've done here for the past 20 years. So a little confused by it, but I get it. So there's a main mass, the center mass is stepped down a little bit more. It's more of a cathedral space inside the house. And then the eastern side is a 1.5 story mass. And then the next one gives you more of a straight on shot of what it looks like from the water. You can see the way the wraparound porch is almost on all of the faces coming across, really trying to break that vertical impact of the building from the harbor side. That was something that I really focused on because I thought that was pretty important. Some of my favorite houses in Brant Point are the ones that have the wraparound porch and not a tall vertical face like a lot of the ones heading west down Easton Street. They're just big, huge boxes. I think, one of my favorite houses is Max Berry's house, the one in the corner where it has the wraparound porches coming down on it. It's very low. That was something that I tried to sort of stick with. So the next one coming around gives you a sense wrapping around the house, now looking more to the east. Again, one of the other things the board had suggested last time, I had a very flat sort of modern trim on the house. You can see in these renderings, I've added a more decorative trim condition, a little bit more of an eave and fascia overhang with a bit of sort of a sort of crown molding piece. I saw it in a few historic photos looking at some houses that were built. What's that? It's a new Andrew, right? I'm embracing the feedback, working with, not against. So I'm quite excited by the direction the house has taken. I think the changes are pretty significant and actually look much better. I warn you, HSAP's comments are very, very harsh. I cried in front of Mickey Rowland. He was, but no, I didn't. My skin's tough. But their comments are pretty brutal. But they're not necessarily aligned with the comments that we talked about last time. So it's kind of hard when on a project like this, I understand the significance of it. I understand the location, but I've worked really hard sort of studying the waterfront. And I think it's come up with something that creates a little bit of a nice topography of architectural language across that side of Brant Point. So that's what I have for now, but.
Sounds good, Andrew.
All right.
And with that kind of lead up, I just can't wait to.
Oh God, it's make me apologize ahead of time. Yeah, look at Holly.
I wasn't there, but I've read them. And on that note, I did want to remind the commission for the record, the fact that the existing historic structure from the 50s still has that pending demolition approval from 2018. So I just wanted to remind.
It's approved already.
Yes, it's approved, but there was conditions. So it was approved through staff and conditions. So I just wanted to bring that up.
What were the conditions?
Yeah, what were the
It
I just had to give you a
says,
plan or something.
motion
Holly, I
to
thought.
approve the move preferably or demolition, but not prior to the time of sale, and provided PIN will later laser document the structure
yeah.
prior to demolition
Right.
or move, and photos of the interior and exterior submitted into the file.
I will get you all that. I have most of it already, Holly. Yep.
I would be remiss if I didn't remind.
Understood.
So with that, HSAB did take a look at this recently. And their comments are as follows. This design approach is disappointing. For such an important and prominent location, the design lacks any pleasing architectural style or character. Instead, it is a complicated collection of disorganized and competing boxes. It doesn't identify with the Brant Point neighborhood. The hierarchy is confusing, as there is no clear main mass with subordinate additions. One section has been elevated to assume the main mass position, but is of the same scale and proportion as the other side, resulting in competing wings. The main mass should be noticeably grander than the additive masses surrounding it. The building design looks more like a complex of structures rather than a unified cohesion design. I will note, David did mention that previously. Details, the doors are oversized at 7 foot 6 inches tall, detracting from the scale of the building. and the four-light design is confusing next to the 2/2 windows. Doors should look like doors and be of a more traditional size and pane proportion, such as a 7-foot high with 12 or 15 lights. The very visible chimney mast is an incredibly awkward location. The east elevation of step parallel boxes reads as monotonous, two-story wall. Autonomous, sorry, can't read. Two-story tall with little character. The independent ridge of the stepped proportion is too disconnected to count as additive massing and feels like its own building. The horizontal boards on the outdoor shower and porch skirt are not traditional. They should be vertical or paneled lattice. The second floor deck railing should be more traditional rather than stacked horizontal rails. The south-facing screen porch panel sits on the floor, confusing the scale of that section of the porch. They should sit on the traditional porch railing. The architect would be advised to look at historic examples of successful cottages on Grant Point, such as Sand and Weed and the former Driftwood, which once stood in the same location. While these cottages were very grand in size, their scale and details present a very attractive presence. And those are their comments, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Rob. All right, so a lot to digest. But does anyone have any initial comments?
I think it looks beautiful.
Thank you.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll
Okay,
go after
good.
you. So I think this is a good looking house for sure. The detailing, I agree with, it's not quite as traditional as down there sort of has already. I'm torn between the formality and the informality because I like this casual kind of beachy feeling that you're seeming to go with. But so much glass and the detailing makes it feel quite modern for down there. But I get what they're saying about this property is, you know, important and grand and all that, but I don't think that necessarily means the architecture has to be. So for me, it's more about the detailing. I do appreciate what you've done to the site to open it up for seeing a bit more, and so it's not walled and not so symmetrical. The house is obviously not symmetrical, therefore the property doesn't have to be symmetrical. The 3Ds helped quite a lot, just to get a sense of what we will see and the bits that we won't see. But because of this location, I think even the bits that we most likely won't see too much should also conform with Nantucket's traditional elements. The horizontal board, the 4 light doors, 6 light would be more proportionate with the windows. The screen porch on the back, same thing, detail it to look a little more traditional. I love the idea of the screen porch sort of mitigating some of the glass inside that. But then if you can see your way to having more traditional detailing on that screen porch, for example, great. Deck, railings, etc. You've got a lot of horizontal modern elements that you're going with the rake, keep going with the
Yeah,
details. But I don't think this has to be a grand,
Big box.
a grand sort of symmetrical building, and I like the direction you're going
Okay,
personally.
thank you very much, Carrie. Abby, I think were you ready?
Sure,
Okay.
the trim color is white.
I originally was in here with black and white, and you all said no way to black, so I got rid of the black.
Thank you.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I would prefer everything all white.
Yeah.
That seems to be very
Like
fitting
the
for down
sash.
there. Yeah, just
It
white.
says gray
Did
somewhere.
it say gray?
It says, I think, light gray
Oh,
somewhere, I
right
saw
here.
that. Yeah, light gray.
The sash.
To be honest,
Trim.
I'm open
Sash
to
white,
doing
light
whatever
gray.
the board thinks is most appropriate. There's no real, my client doesn't have any strong direction. I want to do what people think is best for the area. Gray is not common down there. I get black is really nowhere down there. There's a few gray,
I'm not sure I
right.
agree with you, but, So anyway, this is noted down as sash, white, trim, light gray. That's what your application
I would
says.
almost do the reverse if you were gonna.
Yeah, it should be, that's wrong. It was the other way.
Light gray sash.
Yeah, with white trim.
Okay, so let's hold on to that.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Abby.
Okay, so, I actually like the modern detail because it draws, you know, it reminds us of the house that was there before. I do think that the far left chimney, it does seem sort of popped on there like an adage, where the other one seems sort of integral to the massing. But I'm okay with the horizontal decking because again, it's a sort of a simple detail that reminds us of the older modern house. I like the effort on the south side of opening it up so we can see the front door. That's great.
Hey, Abby,
Um,
you said you don't mind the horizontal decking.
The railing at the.
The railing on the second floor on the far left,
Got it.
didn't mean deck, railing.
Railing, okay.
Railing, I don't-
And the horizontal boarding underneath the decks. You okay with that too?
I don't think I mentioned them. I was only talking about the
Okay,
railing on the
all right,
far
fair
left.
enough.
I didn't see that.
And it's here, it's here on the side,
Oh, yeah,
which it does exist in a few houses in Britain.
yeah, I'm not sure about that yet. But I do think the steps going up on either side are too hardscaped, and I think that's going to read from the water. As I just saw some recently and they look really hard. I don't know what that material is, but if it's stone, it's a little hard.
I actually put some photos in here. This is, go to
Yeah.
A600, that's how I did it in the house in Monomoy, rather than a vertical face at the base of the building, and it actually looks very nice.
I think it looks very nice, but I think for this situation, it's gonna look too hard. Because you've got two sets of them, and then I don't know what's in the middle, but
Okay.
what's in the middle there?
A600?
Terrace, yeah, A600.
600. Because it goes,
It's like like a place to put a furniture in.
What is this material?
That will end up being the wood too, like that.
Okay, so that would be
Yeah,
a
but you
vertical
wouldn't see
board.
it with furniture.
oh,
It's back, like,
All right, let me just get,
A900.
no, there's A600, which is before the renderings, and it has a series of photos in it of the detailing that I'm proposing.
that.
Yeah,
Okay,
great.
but anyway, in general, I like the building, I do, and I like the opening to the front door. It's just the four buildings in the front, I think is far too much, makes it too busy. I think you could probably narrow that down. And I've never, the formality of having two boxes in front, even though they're staggered, I think is too, we need some more randomness, some more natural, organic design going on here to, go with the rest of Brand Point. I'll stop there, because
Okay, that was good. Thank you, Abby. Diane, you ready?
She's muted, hold on. Can't hear you, Diane, you're muted.
Mute, why? There we
Yeah.
go. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The south elevation, I do have a problem with those horizontal bars, because if you look not at this particular elevation, but if you look at the one in the solid printing that we got first before we got down to these, the lines, the porch windows beneath it, which are 2/2s, and then posts right along the line, and then the same up above, and then those cross lines, and then the chimney going up is too busy. It should make that deck on the second floor as unobtrusive as possible. And the cross lines of the horizontal porch thing, I think just creates one set too many of lines going in another direction with all the other stuff. I would like to see that made simpler. I I think it's an interesting building. It it doesn't fit all the buildings that are down there, but there are some that do not. I would perhaps like to see the central part as you look back a little simpler as to where the buildings are or tuck them around. I don't mind at all. I think the two garages on the right fit in pretty well. I like the way they fit instead of coming broad face to the street. Um, so basically that is all. It's just that south left top.
Yeah,
So
really.
so many lines, I think is not good. It's not that the shape of the whole building isn't, just cut them out, some of those lines. All those windows are there, right? They're all, on the existing building, they're all 2/2s, right?
I think they're 1/1s.
glass.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they're actually like fixed
1/1,
units
right.
and
Right.
awning
Yeah.
units.
Yeah, it's all there.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, because in my drawings, it shows them as 2/2s. So, anyway,
Diane, do you mean the building is sitting on the site now?
yeah. No, it's what he's proposing. It's
Oh, what he's
going,
proposing is 2/2, yes.
yeah, but they're 2/2s.
In like the 70s, and it's got the fixed picture units with casements on the side, very, very modern.
Right. Well, I think it's on stuff like that, they can be changed. It should be made simpler to keep the basic elevations and stuff of the house or building or whatever you want in mind, rather than finding fault with stuff that can be made simpler and therefore fill out. I think it will be an interesting try to when we see it a little bit more along, that it fits in well. But I don't hate the building, and I think you can change whatever necessary just to make it a little more put together.
Okay. Thank you, Diane. John, it's your turn, friend.
Yeah, thank you. I find the overall design of the structure, as on paper here, is architecturally inappropriate, being inside the old historic district's area, which is Eastern Street, comes under the HDC, the old area. And my main contention in this here is I'd like to see more description of what the front door is in the floor plan on showing what's here. And I think for the where it's gonna go, the main thing, is the most important thing is the front door. So you're looking from the street,
You go to A200.
Or 900, or 8,900.
I'm gonna A200 is the architecture. Yeah, A200. Sorry, John.
900,
Magnum opus.
Where is 200 in relation to all the rest of this? That's the elevation. Here we go. A200. Oh, sorry. So this is the elevation that faces Easton Street. So there's your front door right there.
okay, all right.
Panel
It's fine,
drawing.
it's fine. You couldn't see it through that other drawing.
Yeah, a lot to look at.
Yeah. Well, most windows are harmonious to other windows, you know, they fit in.
Mhm.
I can find on A200, main house, north elevation, top left. This is the deck here. I don't know what it's got, if it's got wire or what,
It's an outdoor shower, John.
but I'm sorry.
It's an outdoor shower. And it
I
has.
think that those are boards,
Yeah,
right?
boards, wood.
Top. Those are
Okay.
wood
Oh,
boards.
yeah.
Those are wood boards?
Yeah, just with space between them.
Okay. And we have something else I saw, I passed over.
That is the front door, correct.
It's something cat- Are the air conditioners in the application?
What's that?
Are there air conditioners in the
They're
application?
on the site plan where they're going, but it may need to be updated, John, in the landscape plan. Because we changed something, but good point. Yes,
The swimming pool.
yes, we
Yeah.
are proposing a pool.
Does it have a roll top?
We'll get to that. That's gonna be the next
I'm trying to
application.
cover everything at once.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I have questions on the pool. We're gonna have that.
Yeah, well, I believe the pool is the next
Well,
application.
Some of these, Bull Lake. And
Yeah,
west,
doors.
west elevation. That's gonna be towards,
That's going,
west elevation, towards,
Towards the
Eastern
break.
Street.
No, that's north. West elevation is facing back to the White Elephant and breakers.
Right.
That direction, sideways.
Okay, that, how much can you see from the water? I do not know. So, fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John. So, you know, Andrew, it's interesting because like this has got me thinking about Easton Street and I don't think it'd be a stretch to say that Easton Street is probably the most eclectic street in Nantucket in terms of architectural styles. You know, the Breakers is, I don't know what the Breakers is, but then you've got like super traditional stuff and you have the Coast Guard Station and, you know, kind of like everything in between. So, including the modern buildings that sit on this piece of property and the one just to the east of it. They were built in the seventies and for their period, I think they're. Anyway, so Easton Street's very eclectic. I think that people have gotten used to that idea, the concept of Easton being eclectic. So in terms of like this sort of hybrid modern with traditional details, I'm generally okay with it. The thing that troubles me about this application is that the massing of the building and to go further, sort of like the organization of buildings on the site seems a little bit chaotic. Like I would like to see there more, you know, more order somehow. You know, how you accomplish that, I'm gonna sort of leave up to you, and I know it's being like incredibly vague, but like it could. People have already talked about various elements of this that could use some changing. So I would look at that, but you know, my main thing is that of all the places on Nantucket, Easton Street is probably a place that would allow for this type of architecture. So I'm okay with that. Generally, I would just like to see all those component pieces of yours more organized. So,
That's fine, like the house is the thing that I focus on.
you know,
The other pieces, a couple, like that's, I haven't really done the guest house beyond sort of
we're not even
massing.
reviewing.
Right,
this.
we're not even reviewing that, so.
It's just interesting because like, you know, we gave you the front door imperative
Right.
last time,
I
which you
think-
respected.
Yeah.
Okay, you got us our front door, but it's sort of down this kind of like narrow corridor of buildings or, you know, it's sort of like you're looking
Yeah.
down this street
Understood.
in old London, you
Yeah.
know, and having these buildings encroaching, but yeah, the front door there.
Right. Right.
So, that's about all I have to say about this. So should we just have some revisions on this, guys? We'll do some revisions?
Sure.
Okay, Thanks, I think it's heading in the right direction.
Great.
Make a motion to hold for revisions.
Very good, thank you for that motion, Diane. On the motion, Carrie, Abby,
I,
revisions. Full revision. Abby's in, John, are you in? You, aye? Very good. Diane, on your motion?
Aye.
I'm in favor too, motion carries. Now we'll get, oh, so Andrew, you're representing. the second.
Yeah, one question. Are people okay with white and gray
Oh,
as trim? Just because I like that.
I am. I'm better with that than
White
white on
trim,
white.
gray sash.
But I have one other comment. Did I see white shiplap or clapboard?
All natural to weather. Everything that is horizontal is natural to weather.
There's one wall of horizontal shiplap.
Which I'm okay with.
It was, it's all natural to weather. Everything's
Yeah.
under, everything's natural to weather.
The chimney is, would that be gray or white?
The chimney was just regular brick, straightforward.
Oh.
Water
You
struck
really
brick.
have changed. What happened?
I'm
to
not
you?
messing around down here. I've already got yelled at the H7 and that'll take 10 years off my life.
Right, okay.
just a question,
Yes.
on the tertiary buildings and the swimming pool, don't we wanna see how they're gonna?
I need to get a read on the pool right now
Okay,
because like, this is
Oh,
a pretty significant thing that's gonna affect a lot of other
the
things that
pool, the
happen.
pool in the front yard.
Right, so,
Hey, can we condense that? Like, that's, guys, that's what we're talking about.
yeah, we're just, don't talk about anything else right now. We're talking about a pool in the front yard that will be fully planted and concealed from any public view. Go.
I understand why you're.
That's the conversation.
No, I.
And by the way, the pool is back behind the 100-foot Concom line.
Well, it would have to be. No, actually, no, it doesn't.
It's still in their jurisdiction, but it's actually outside of the 100-foot line.
Is it elevated?
Yes, it'll be elevated.
So we're not in the historic district.
This is not ROH?
Oh, that's a super good question. I don't think that it
It
is.
is not.
Okay,
It's
so once again, guys, and I know this is incredibly confusing, and I hope someday that this will be less confusing, but this is part of the HDC, Old Historic District, okay? And it was recently made that, like within the last 10 years, it became part of that district. That is not zoning district.
Correct.
Zoning district map for OHD and the HDC map for OHD do not coincide.
Correct.
So Andrew is in the HDC OHD, so
R1.
he can, yeah, and so, did you say R1?
R1.
Yeah, R1.
Yep.
Okay, so.
I did my homework here on
Yeah.
this. This is
So
not,
it's R1 is, you are allowed to have a pool, so that's the story on that.
And the flood district zone
that's
doesn't have
gonna be
anything to do
Concom.
with.
That's gonna be
pools.
Concom.
Yeah, he's got another.
I gotta get through it. I got another fight there.
Oh, yeah,
That's
that's gonna
Concom.
be a big fight.
I need to,
It just
That's-
doesn't-
Yeah,
right.
he's just seeing whether this is even the wheels are gonna get off the ground on this one.
Right.
So, all right, who wants to start on the pool?
So just one thing, sorry. What
Yeah.
you're looking at in the site plan is an older site, not showing the studio disconnected
Right,
from the
right.
structure, but forget about that for now. Just, we'll have visibility from the public way and what I'm putting in
But I
front of
have
you.
it on mute, so
And it will be a raised transfer
It
ledge.
I don't know where it
No,
is.
but-
It might be in the drawer.
Hey, Diane, you may want to mute just for a second.
Yeah, just-
Thank you. What was this now?
The pool will be, and again, there's not a ton of detail here because this is a preliminary read.
Yeah.
The pool coping will be 24 inches above grade.
And
Plus
is-
or minus.
Is grade being altered at all?
We
I guess
can't
it
alter grade 0. We can't change grade 1 inch.
Right, because of Concom.
Yeah, so grade is not being
Yeah,
changed.
you know,
There will be a transfer ledge, there will be decks that water will be able to run under in the event of a flood, connecting the pool coping and then terracing up to the house.
okay,
I've gotten this approved in Monomoy in the house, not with a pool,
Not in the
but all the
flood.
decks and everything through Concom. Again, HDC's concerns are very different than Concom. So for today, we're talking about
Okay, yeah,
HDC's
so,
concerns.
I do have HSAC comments.
Oh.
Oh, God.
First, of course.
I didn't-
Yes, go ahead.
Didn't hear it, Polly.
So they did June, actually, they looked at it twice, June
They didn't
19th and June 28th. The proposed granite stones at the driveway entrance are too large and should be brick or Belgian block to fit the neighborhood.
Okay.
And matching obviously the adjacent aprons. Outdoor lighting plan due to town location was a recommendation. And then a question about where the proposed pool equipment is going to be. And then they also did mention that the pool should track with the other buildings up on the lot.
That's a for sure, because we don't know where those other buildings are gonna go quite yet, or what they're gonna look like. But I think that what we're here, or what Andrew's here for, hoping to get a read from us on, is the idea of having the pool in quote unquote the front yard. So, what do we all think of that? Diane, were you gonna say something on that? You're probably muted.
Yeah, I'm mute.
I don't know. Now you couldn't hear me. Before, when I was telling somebody to go in the kitchen, it said it was muted. Otherwise, I wouldn't have spoken up. I don't know whether it's the pad or what, but anyway,
Now, yeah,
I agree on the driveway in the front.
yeah.
I would like to see the pool go in perhaps a different direction, bringing it in so it's not crossing along that road. The houses down there and the next lot is very close to this. And I'm not sure what you need without seeing what's next to it on a site plan, what you need for cutting off the view of the pool. I also would like to say, because I can't quite read it on my plan, is where the land runs to the Nantucket Harbor. This is about the only lot left that does not have a bulkhead. And I would like to see that, if possible, remain, because it's historic, maybe not with the house, but with the land. It's been that way for forever. And I
So-
would,
Diane,
yes,
this house does have a bulkhead,
And a dock.
yeah.
well, it doesn't show up on the plans in the GIS, so I don't know. It didn't used to have a bulkhead back some years
So,
ago.
well, it's there now, so I don't think Andrew is actually requesting that part.
Okay,
Already there, yeah.
sorry.
It's all right,
Yeah,
okay,
It doesn't
so,
have a dock coming out or anything. If you see it, that dock is on the very, very right-hand side, almost in the other people's yard. We took
Yeah.
some pictures of that this past weekend. As much as we could without tromping on the property. But I think it is important to where the pool gets put and how it is covered, protected, so it is not privet edges and very typical. The rest of the house is not typical. I'd like to see the vegetation be not typical, but covering the problem.
okay. Thank you, Diane.
Yeah, and I see this, like, I see the North Mill neighborhood, because there's one private pool on this harbor, which is Sandon down at the very end of Easton. The other pool is the White Elephants. So I feel really strongly that there shouldn't be a pool, and it's not just for this property. I feel that once we set the precedent of allowing a pool, there are a lot of big properties on this point here.
But they can't hide them like we can.
Well, just because you can hide it doesn't mean you should do it. I just don't know. It's not just sight. It's a lot of things that go into a pool. And if I had my druthers, I would sort of ban them from the density of all our tightly packed, important neighborhoods, historic, neighborhoods. So So I hate to say it, but that's where I am.
Okay, well, that's all right. Abby, you ready?
Yeah, you know I hate pools, but in this particular, as we said, eclectic neighborhood and proximity to White Elephant, the fact that it's 15 inches and it's going, in sort of front to back. I think if this can be screened in an not overly screened, but so that it looks like part of the neighborhood, I would be okay with it. I think things could be shifted so it could work, like that, so that it's completely covered. I don't want to see umbrellas, people in bathing suits. I mean, I understand nobody wants that. So, I think with some modification, this could work. So.
Okay, thank you. John?
Yes, sir, thank you. I consider the front door is approximately 90 feet from the street. That's my own opinion on that.
Okay.
Where is the board fenced on the plan?
Is there a board fence?
There's a fence buried in the privet hedge that wraps it, that's held off the
So,
property line.
John,
Again, this is a very schematic plan right
privet
now.
edge running around here. So the board fence would be inside of the privet edge.
It's actually here though, it's not here. This is
Oh,
where the
it's
fence
way in there.
enclosure is
Oh,
here
okay.
to here, and then here to there. So we've held it in, so it's not on the edges of the property, so it can be more natural as everybody's articulated.
Where is the drawn description of the fence?
It's
and
not,
size of
it's
it?
right here, John.
Oh, there it is.
It's right here.
Right down there.
So John, that fence is going like this.
Mhm. Mhm.
1 by 4 cedar picket.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had another question, what was it? This here is all bushes,
Edge.
vegetation.
Will be defined in a later application, but yes, the perimeter would be planted for privacy and the neighbors actually want the same thing, so.
Okay. My other comment was looking in from the harbor towards the deck. Where is the elevation showing this here?
Well,
I've
that
got to
was
give
on-
you that, John.
Yeah, that
I'll
was
give
on
you
the
all that.
previous.
Yes,
Wait a minute, two people talking. Fine.
it will be on the next round of site plans. It was on the previous application, but the elevation here is at like elevation 5, the grass, and it's not changing. We're not allowed to change it.
Okay, my only other comment through this application, I find it, is sliding doors, that I think it's still inside the old ACC. And you're gonna be putting a lot of reflective glass up where it shouldn't be, and it shouldn't be this much is here, I think it's overburdened. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think it's me. I don't like pools any more than anybody else, although it seems like a lot of people do like them. He's judging from the number of applications we have for it. I don't see the need for them. That's not really what I'm here to opine on. So my view of this pool is, as long as you have mechanisms and structures and so forth and landscape in place to screen the pool from any public way, I don't see that there's a way that we can object to that. Noise is outside of our purview, lighting, all that stuff is out of our purview. So that's where I am. But I think you're gonna have a bit of a time at the con. That's just my
Yeah.
opinion.
They don't even let us do retaining
No,
to
I mean,
mitigate
we wish that
height.
we could get like 24 inches of fill like that you're getting from your pool. that would be super helpful because then the house could grade
The
down.
unique strategy of this site though is that we have enough ground cover that the pool could technically be considered a structure and we can still satisfy.
Oh,
them.
like build a building on
Yeah.
top of it and just take the building
Oh,
off.
okay.
There's
Yeah,
it's unique the amount of ground cover
Yeah.
available, there's things, but anyway, it's a whole
Okay,
other thing.
So there it is. I think we should just hold for
Okay.
a more general site plan, showing everything. Can I have that motion?
Motion to hold for revisions.
Yeah, that sounds good. And can I add to that, like a more comprehensive site?
It will be, it will.
More information?
Yeah.
Okay, so Abby just made a motion, on that motion, Carrie,
Aye.
thank you, John,
Aye.
thank you, Diane,
Aye.
thank you, Abby on your motion,
Aye.
and I'm in favor, motion carries. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all very much for your
We'll
time.
see you later.
Appreciate it.
And now we're at 26 Easy,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
Abby Mullin.
Oh, right, this was the one that was, yeah, okay. Okay, so this recused camp thing should actually not be on. Just to be clear, I don't think you recused, you just weren't in the, like, you don't have. a
Because, I
con-
went walking the dog or something.
Yeah, you didn't have. a
No, I don't know why I'm recused.
It's okay, I just want to be clear.
But it was written down on a lot of them, and I wasn't really recused.
Okay, but here's the funny thing about this anyway.
Problem
We
is
have-
when someone steps out like that, just walks off and goes out, I don't know where to put it.
They're out,
So it should have been in parent saying you stepped out,
yeah.
not, I just stuck it in recused. I'm moving that up to alternate.
The funny thing about this though is we did not have Val Tuesday night and now we do. So we are at the board that's posted. So Abby, you're welcome to sit in on this, but the voting members are include Val.
Didn't know if you're gonna be here. That was, that's why I asked Abby.
Belt and suspenders.
Yes.
I'll make, I'd
Okay,
make a statement.
you can make a statement, sure.
Are we reviewing it now or is, I don't remember him reviewing the additions today, right now.
We are reviewing 26 Easy Street.
Yeah, it is. What I have sorted out or gone and look at it, it is much too complicated to go along with where it is on Easy Street, which all the buildings are simpler and less windowed. Less
Diane?
Yes.
Diane, hang on one second, okay? Because
Yep.
we should really allow Matt to
Yes.
present his revisions. And then we were gonna hear from HSAB
That's what
on.
I thought. That's what I thought. I hadn't heard him make.
You're gonna have your chance. You're gonna have your chance to speak in just a minute. Okay,
Yep.
Matt, you have the mic, go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, we've made some revisions here. Probably best to go to sheet A 2.1, which is the south and the east elevation.
Yeah.
Those sit on Oak Street and Easy Street respectively. Those are the two most predominant elevations. On the south elevation, we have moved the Juliet balcony and the cut-in deck balcony on the south elevation. I know the board was not in favor of those. We did keep the one second floor deck on the east elevation. By the way, if we can probably still reduce that if you feel like it should be a bit smaller, but those are two which may not seem huge, but they're, a big impact to the program. But anyways, clearly the board didn't like those, so we got rid of those. We also omitted the Dutch hip on all conditions there. Diane, you had asked us to get rid of the chimney cap or owl, which we've done. We've altered the dormer slightly. I know the board didn't love the call it what I would call like a wall-winted hip dormer on the third floor and just changed to a straight shed. And then we also are hoping to, and this is pending, a Concom approval, is if you're familiar with 28 Easy Street, where it has the elevated brick patio, if you will, in front of the building. It's a way of integrating the 1 in 20 accessible ramp into the entrance to the building. So this property owner and that property owner are in discussion, and they're hoping to actually just kind of take that same treatment and connect the two to elevate them. And the benefit would be that they'll essentially have two accessibility ramps to or more retail spaces on Easy Street. It's kind of part of that whole resiliency in terms of planning and kind of stepping things up just a little bit. I would probably consider that part of the landscape application, but we did want to put it on the plans just so you can see it. It is clouded. Final change, and this is obviously kind of an extreme one, is, and part of me wants to just get some feedback on this idea, and I don't want it to suck up all the air in the room, which is the sidewall being changed to brick. And this is specifically, like I said, a response to the resiliency. And where this building is on Nantucket, on Easy Street, and planning for the future. The owner's position, which again, I definitely see the practicality part of it, is to change the brick. Now,
Actually, why?
what's that?
Why is brick any, safer than wood frame?
Just durability wise, it's next to your skin, if you will.
Well, the
Yeah.
the resiliency plan has detail or suggestion of bulkhead with the
Correct.
wood or shingle on top of it, so bulkhead to this height and then just
Yeah.
shingle.
Okay.
You
So-
can just do shingle.
Like I said, I know it's a curveball on the stage of it, and I was just hesitant to, I don't want it to suck up all the air in the room. I'd love to focus on the massing, because I do think that the material, sidewall material is fairly easily interchangeable with shingles. The other thing I would just say too is, we do have historic photos of this area. And there are buildings that are of significant scale. And I would just say that it's been difficult to actually think about the way this area was historically, because it looks completely different than it does today. I could show you photographs of some really larger scale buildings, actually in some cases 4-story buildings. And then some 1.5, 2-story, all simple structures, but it was a completely different environment. And so I do consider that when we look at projects like this, what it was historically, what is it today, and how is our approach? And I think that, given this location and what is around this building, including the Dreamland, which I think is not a small thing. Obviously, we're not trying to be as big as the Dreamland, but that is part of the context. I think that the language for this area, I wouldn't disagree with you. I think you could actually have a more ornate building. That's kind of where we started. But if you do say that we should kind of dial it back a little bit more waterfront, basically saying that it shouldn't be too ornate. I think that this schematic could still facilitate that. So with that, I look forward to the comments from the board, Mr. Chair.
I'll give you some.
Hang on, Diane. We're gonna hear from HSAP.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just as you all remember, this is an infill. There was a previous 1940s structure that you all allowed to be demolished. And this structure does need to comply with our resilient Nantucket design guideline, and I know Matt is aware of them. As far as staff's comments, I note that the brick in the balcony is not appropriate. It is still too tall at 34 feet, 6 inches, understanding that historically we did have some taller structures in this area at certain time periods. However, if you do look at aerials that were done from the Unitarian Church and the First Congregational Church looking down, which I've actually seen quite a few from NHAs, they're very utilitarian in nature, very, very simple. So building with Nantucket in mind, again, credits the old Harbor House complex as a respectful architectural design for our commercial design. Reference page 151 of the book. Street facing elevations should try to reflect Main Street design elements. That's right out of the book. The proposal does not provide traditional proportion and detail. It should be wood and more like its neighbor at 28 Easy Street, which I understand Matt designed. HSAB's comments, mixed use structure. This design is still too large and too complex for this location. The historical waterfront typically had simpler utilitarian buildings. This design is very similar to the one next door on Easy Street, which would create a new and inappropriate dominant style in that area. This building should contrast with that one to show that it is not the norm. This is not the norm on the street. Instead of both masses being at the same height, there should be a change in the height in the massing to show a dominant main mass and a lower additive mass. Second floor balconies overlooking the street should not be allowed anywhere downtown. There is no historical precedent for this one. Still way too tall at 34.5. The third floor should be eliminated entirely. This is a corner lot and the height is very visible from the new park and the wide sidewalk across from the Dreamland. Visible third floor spaces are much more the exception rather than the rule downtown. This is yet another in a series of proposed projects that are attempting to supersize downtown Nantucket. We need to keep the existing scale of these buildings as it is in order to retain the character of town. If we aren't vigilant, the town, as we know it, will change forever. Those are their comments. For sure.
Deja vu. I think you said pretty much the same thing Tuesday night.
I think I did.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Holly. All right, members. Oh, Diane, did you want to start on this one?
Yeah, I do. First of all, the building is too tall. It is 35 feet plus something. There's no reason for our buildings downtown in the main historic area to be 35-foot buildings to compete with the Dreamland, which is a commercial theater, the Nantucket Whaling Museum, or the Athenaeum. These should not be competing against those three classic buildings. Every new building that has come up in this area has all been too tall to begin with. That is a 3-story building. You can hide it by putting a gable, but that there is a 3-story building. It should be one of the lowest buildings. If you notice all pictures of old Nantucket coming down to the harbor, the buildings lowered down as the closer they got to the water. That is also this has no proposal for the increased flooding of the area. So if they had to lift it 8 feet after it was built, it would be up in the air. It is inappropriate to have this high building in the area that is proposed for. The number of windows is over fenestrated, and I believe I would like to see the north elevation. The north elevation with all the windows has 4 or 5, and then 3 mulled windows up in the 3rd floor. It is so typically seen as a 3-story building that it is shocking. And then you put a roof walk on the top of it to just make it 3 more feet taller. I find that unacceptable. I would like to see it simpler, less windows, take it down to 30 feet as it should be, because we don't have to follow zoning telling us we have to have 40-foot buildings. The HDC can say we want 30-foot buildings, or we want this or that, not to have a 35-foot plus building proposed to us down on Easy Street, which is probably one of the more simpler streets going along the edge of the harbor. And that's what I got to say now.
Okay, Diane, thank you very much. Who's next?
I'll go.
Thank you.
I agree with Nick Stab about the 3rd floor being there's so much space and height added to the building. The flared ends of the roof, I understand the intention to try to make it feel more horizontal, to take away from the verticality, but in fact, our eyes are drawn right there, which means up. The roof walk for me is completely insignificant and just doesn't really work on this style of
So
building.
you're kind of on the fence about the roof walk, so I'm gonna skip.
Sorry. It just reads as, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. But those are my main concerns. Right, and the third floor and
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Carrie. Val, you ready?
Sure, I mean, I'm not gonna repeat everything that was said, I agree with HSAP. I appreciate the change from the former roof style. But I still think it reads as too modern, which has been said. It could be that the pitch needs to come down a little and maybe some more traditional detail. And what resonates with me is there are buildings in town, especially Main Street, where there is a lot of glass on the first floor, but as you go up, it decreases. And no, this has a lot of shed dormers, which I think read as a more modern spin on architecture in town. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. John?
Yes, thank you. A 2.1. On the south elevation proposed. It should be 45 degrees, not the arches holding up the tent roof.
Brackets, yeah.
That ought to be changed. The building's all brick, I take it. Am I right?
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
proposed, yeah.
Question is, flatboard dormers and balconies,
Good answer. That.
why wouldn't you want to keep it authentic and take that little bit of clapboard off and shingle from the second floor up, make it more to the neighborhood, you know?
I could try that.
That's a suggestion. The other one on east elevation, the added elevated plaza and reduced railing. I think that the two doors that are there should be changed to have little less glass on the doors and make it maybe 50-50.
Mhm.
And also on the top, you have on the top of it, it had a chimney cap on it.
Mhm.
Here it's written down, omit cowl.
Yeah, they took it out, John.
Inside.
There used to be one. He took it out. It flew away.
Yeah. Okay. The other one is south elevation. I mentioned the 45s.
Yes.
And on the right side where you have shingled deck covering, take the pictures out of the second floor on both of them. And leave it shingled all the way across. If you've got shingles there, it should be more appropriate than the spindles on the second floor in that location. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, John, thanks. Okay, so many of my concerns have already been voiced, but I'm just gonna go down and sort of underscore what I think are the important things. Roof walk, brick siding, over dormerization, over whatever you would call it, of the third floor. I think it should be, the roof plane should be much simplified with windows at the gable ends and kind of call it a day there. I also, I'm not sure if this was brought up yet, but there is this second floor deck that kind of spans the whole width of the building on the east elevation. I know that HSAP wants to do away with it entirely, which would suit me just fine, but my compromise on that would be to have the deck only be where the doors are, so it's more like a Juliet balcony than a full width. I mean, it's got
Probably looks like 20.
22 feet wide, you know, that needs some severe reduction. And simplification of the detailing, you know, the flare that Carrie pointed out and those sorts of things. That's it for me. Okay, so should we motion for some revisions on this?
Motion to hold for revisions.
Thank you, Val. On Val's motion, Diane. Diane, are you good with the motion? How about you, John?
Aye.
There's Diane, thank you. Carrie?
Aye.
Thank you. John? To hold for revisions.
Thank you.
Yeah, good, okay, and Val on the motion?
Aye.
I'm good. Okay, now we're on to some new business.
I'm gonna request holding mine till the end of the new business agenda.
That could be some
I
time.
know, we're not in a hurry, and I'm not in the mood right now.
Oh, okay. All right, so, let's, you can have a motion from somebody to hold, this to the
I
end.
make a
of-
motion to hold 500 to the end of the new business agenda.
All right, thank you, Diane, on that, we're holding this one to the end of new business, okay? So we're gonna hold this to the end of new business. It's going all the way down. Okay? So that's Diane's motion. Are you in favor of the motion, John?
Yes.
He was
Okay,
here.
thank you. Abby on the motion?
Aye.
Thank you. Stephen on the motion?
Is he
Yeah,
here?
he didn't know he was on. Maybe he's not there. Carrie on the motion?
Aye.
And I'm in favor, motion carries. Okay, so next up, we have 19 Bartlett Road.
Yeah.
You.
Aye.
Okay, so unless there's a conflict henceforth, which there will be shortly, you're gonna have the regular board. All of whom are present. You can gather that your name is Sean Caldwell.
Yes,
Okay, that was for the record.
okay.
So tell us what you're doing.
Okay, there's two dwellings on the property that I own on 19 Bartlett. The front dwelling, which I call the front house,
Yes.
has no foundation and slowly rotting and won't be with us too much longer. There is a house down the street on Three Raceway, which was permitted to be demolished. I stepped in and said, hey, I'll take it. Pending that we're approved to demo the front house, put a foundation and move it down the street. It fits perfectly if we take the garage off of Three Raceway onto my front house area.
Okay, that sounds pretty straightforward. Do we have a vintage on this house? When it was built?
I don't know, I want to say 50s.
Confirm in a second.
Okay, just so that I understand though.
Sure.
The building is not getting crushed and going to the dump, it's moving down the street.
No. The building on my property is,
Oh, no, okay, I'm sorry, yeah.
but that building has no foundation to it. It's just a slab.
The one that you're looking for the move off down has no foundation.
Move off demo has no foundation, yes.
That's the one that we're.
Sure,
looking at.
the one on 19 Bartlett.
Okay, so this building, you want to move demo?
That, correct, that's gonna be demolished,
Well, it will be if.
yes,
we approve it.
yes, requested to demolish.
All right, what do you say, folks?
It's hard to say without knowing the vintage of it, if it's.
Oh, it's in there, so.
It is?
Oh,
We have anything-
Dolly just went out in the hall to see if she could pull it up.
Oh, that's good.
No, I think that she was looking at.
And the other side of this story is move off demo, and then what did you say? You
Move
said
on,
that there's a move on that
Is it-
fits perfectly, you said?
it does, yeah,
DU.
That you obviously.
Dwelling
know better.
unit,
yes.
Dwelling unit. I just learned something.
Stand by.
I was trying to figure out what the heck that was. Dwelling.
All right, 1960s, I mentioned.
1960s.
60, yeah.
All right. Okay, pending Holly's confirmation of that, does anyone want to speak on this? It is cute.
I don't go by them. If that in fact is the vintage,
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I have one that's 1960. You have two on the lot, right, Sean?
Yeah, yeah.
One is
they're-
1960 with the shore. Then the other one is 1950.
Well, no, the other one was moved on, the rear house or main house was moved on 10 years ago.
do we have a picture of that? Because the other key to this is to see how it will work with the other house.
Oh.
19 Bartlett Road, basement NHL is 1960. So that sounds about right. The record.
I'm okay with a move off demo.
Okay, thank you. Abby?
Yeah, I'm also curious about what's taking its place. It's so perfect, but,
I mean, I can show you my phone.
is that
Well,
coming up
that's,
next?
that's.
Yeah, I
mean,
didn't know, okay.
We are, aren't we taking that up next?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
so,
okay.
right, I mean, this is sort of an isolated, we either approve or don't approve of your moving this building on.
It's just always so tricky,
Yeah.
the cart before the horse.
Right. Well, all right, so do you want to show her the picture of the house? In the meantime, John, how do you feel about this house being moved or demoed?
Well, as I know about Bartlett Road, this structure here probably showed up in maybe in the 60s.
You're exactly right, it's
1960.
1960, yes,
Yeah, somewhere in that area.
that's right.
It's a low bungalow type structure. And I don't think it had any great historic effect in the immediate area.
Okay,
So,
you're okay with it, it sounds like.
but I'm going to demolish it, take
Okay,
it down.
all right, thank you, John. How about you, Diane?
I would prefer to see it moved. I don't care whether the foundation is a slab. Lots of houses are on slabs and they don't fall down. So if we had a preference, I would like to see it kept to be moved. It has, but otherwise, I'd like to see what building is going in there from 3 Raceway.
Well, that's gonna be the next application, Diane,
Yeah,
viewing right after this.
Can I add one thing?
You can.
Okay, if the wind blows, that front house will go down.
Oh, so why are you coming to us?
So can't be.
curtains in the window, so something's holding it up.
The curtains are holding it up. Okay, so Diane, if I gather what you just said, you prefer to have it moved off, but you're okay with the move demo?
Yes,
Fair to say? Okay,
yes.
and yeah, more to say?
No, not me.
Okay. And I think I'm last, and I'll say that, it's a charming little building, but I do understand, circumstances, so I'm okay with the move demo. Does somebody want to make a motion for me?
motion,
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, so John's made a motion to approve the move demo. On that motion, Val, Diane,
Aye.
Abby, John on your motion,
Aye.
and I'm in favor. The motion carries. Okay, so that was part 1 of your thing. How about part 2?
Same thing.
keep
Okay.
going.
Oh, yeah, that's totally fine.
Oh.
Okay, Abby, here's You get your day now. And just PS, did you already get a move off on this one, or did somebody?
Indeed, they're right. Yeah, I think so.
Move off from Three Raceway.
I'll move off. That's what
Yeah.
we're discussing right now, right?
No,
No.
we're doing move on to your.
I'll move on. Oh, was it approved as demo? What did you say? It was approved as a demo. Yes.
Demo move on.
Yeah.
Demo move off.
Demo move off.
Yeah.
Oh, it was,
Yeah, no, I
okay,
just
okay,
wanted to
great,
see.
okay, got it. Oh, pretty charming. Okay, so you're
Right here.
removing, if you look at the front door, you're removing the right-hand side. which I think you
Correct.
said earlier, yeah, okay. Well, I guess it's better than all the things.
Yeah.
Hey, so
Right.
when you shear off a part of the building like that, do we have the elevation of like what you're gonna replace that sheared off for?
Just a mirror image of the other side. I have it.
Which is that?
Yes.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, when you chop off the garage portion, I think it's a garage or whatever that side piece is, and you have that blank wall, this is what that's gonna look like, 3 windows.
Here,
One window
Pictures
looks
of it.
offset, if you want. Just to be aware, one window looks offset from the center.
Oh, but that's the existing, see, I think he's gonna change that up.
Yeah, there's,
He wants the new side to look like that.
Right, but does it? Because this window, this is the new side, take that piece off, that window exists there.
Are you gonna move the window to make it look like that?
it's gonna look like that. Yes. Yes.
So I'm
Okay,
just,
it just
Carrie
exists.
is making the observation that right now.
Yeah.
That side has a window off here
Yeah.
rather than right here.
Yes. Yeah.
And what you're proposing, I think, is something that you
Correct.
like this.
Yeah. Mirror image.
Okay,
Correct.
so you're good with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's the answer to that question. Questions, comments on this from the board?
fundamentally, I'm fine with it. I wish I could see what the other house looks like that it's gonna partner with,
I can
but,
show you right now.
And the front door is going to face which
The
way?
front door, the two front doors are gonna face each other.
Oh, because you have a common sort of courtyard drive.
That's driveway, correct.
You got
Oh,
that?
so it's not, yeah, so it's not on Bartlett.
Hmm?
So this is facing the street.
Oh, so the back is facing the street.
That's correct. I mean, you can't see it from the street.
How's that possible?
I know.
Yeah, there's pictures from the street. When you pull in,
Really?
yes.
I mean, not really, so
Do we have
is
pictures?
it that heavily budgeted?
They're all sticking together.
There is a board
To get it in there, you have to move
There's a
it.
fence, there's a fence, yes, there's a fence and trees.
Is it, Sean, is it,
That's correct.
is that the one you're moving off, right?
That's a demo, yeah, yeah.
And then it's going in its place.
Yeah.
That would go in its place,
How
yes,
can you get it in there without opening it up?
without opening the,
Vegetation.
Yeah,
according to Holgate, we could. In fact, the main house there now was moved in.
Well,
No, what I think what everyone is saying is that the back of the house is, the moved house is now currently it's going to face Bartlett Road.
with a sliding glass door.
Yeah, and so to get comfortable with approving this, we would need to know that you're not gonna actually see the back.
You're not gonna see the back.
No, but we're getting that from you, but I see a narrow entrance into your property and a building that's approximately as wide as the entrance, which means that 100% of that vegetation is gonna have to come down just to get the building in.
The tree behind that building there is.
We don't need a view, do we? I mean, I can't bring this up in my brain.
can you flip the building around and face the front forward?
That would be the easiest.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, it would be. I mean, you still wouldn't see the front door from the street.
Right, but you wouldn't see the back of the house either.
You know, actually, like, if you wanna expedite this one, because I
Yeah.
see where this is going. You have a little driveway spur that would take you to what could be the front door of this building.
If the front door were there, correct?
if the front door were there, because I mean, typically, we're very emphatic about
That's what
having
you're
the
talking
front
about.
door, having the front door of a house face
The
the street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, even if you can't see the front door.
But you can see that house that's there.
Yeah.
It's smaller than this one, so your argument isn't holding
is that your
water.
little parking space? I mean, is that the parking space that shows up on your site plan?
That's, yeah, I mean, that's, cars there. now.
Yeah, so like if that were the front door rather than the dormer back of the building. Sorry to give you a hard time, but you know,
Yeah.
this is a good point. Stay on. Let's see,
I could motion to approve in a second if it was the reverse.
Okay, so. Times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Okay, all right,
John's.
however you guys want.
all right.
So the front is now on Bartlett?
The front door will face Bartlett.
Front door will
Yes.
face Bartlett. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so, yeah, go ahead.
On the motion made, I haven't commented about moving yet. I comment, the only thing I want to ask, what's proposed? You've got these lines drawn here, they're gonna look like flatboard.
That's my
And I put down-
architecture skill.
This should be shingled like the rest of the house.
It is. I had to expedite it.
Thank you.
So just for the record, we should make sure that the elevations are relabeled so that the cardinal points correspond with the building, the front door actually facing Bartlett Road. So
We'll update the elevation.
What?
We'll update the elevation.
So the motion on the table is to approve the move on of this building, but with the proviso that the front door faces Bartlett Road. So on that motion, Val,
Aye.
thank you, John,
Hi.
thank you, Abby, very good, Diane.
I just one question, because I didn't hear any answer. What, when you brought it up, was what did you decide on the vegetation getting cut down by putting the?
Well, it kind of doesn't matter anymore because, you know, the front of the building has a front door and it's attractive. So like, if you can see that from the road, I don't think we have a concern. We were concerned about seeing the back of the building.
Yeah, I thought you were concerned about having to get rid of the vegetation for the
Well,
move.
we were in the sense that if that's what we were gonna have to screen the back of the building, but now he's agreed that the front of the building will face Bartlett Road. So I think that goes away.
I'm for it. I just was curious about the trees.
Good to be
and
clear.
stuff.
All right, so thank you, Diane, and I'm in favor too, so that motion carries. All right, now we're on to, Harry Thornwell disappeared. Oh,
No,
there's
she went to
Luke.
get Luke.
How late are we staying today?
Well, 2:30 ish. Let's try and go through these two Pochik things. Is that okay with everybody? Pochik, 70 Pochik. Luke's here.
Okay.
Thank you.
We good with that? Luke, just tell us it's gonna be pretty straightforward.
Straightforward.
Okay, thank you. So after Luke, we're gonna break. Luke, let's see, where are you? Are you,
69 Somerset Road.
yeah, you're gonna be, for solar.
Yeah.
You're gonna be, up early on Tuesday evening. Okay, sorry to keep you waiting. Well, it's just, that- yeah, no. Tuesday, first day. Tuesday. Yeah, we're breaking after these two, coaches. Okay? I think you were right, Luke. I think it is straightforward.
Well, this is it's a house the owner brought to me that this place where it is. The builder had a very similar house and he wanted to put it on this property.
Okay?
And basically, as you can see from the site plan, it's a sloping property. Which we take advantage of on the downside, which is a lot, is heavily vegetated in the rear. But we're simply sort of like digging out from the backside. But on the front side, there's only one bedroom on the second floor. And it's it's close to being a dead end at this point. There's a few houses nearby, they're all sort of rural in character and some of them are all hodgepodge. Some of them are kind of modern, new houses, but some of them are quite old. Anyway, he has this concept for a barn. The flavor we're hoping to have achieved is a kind of one of a rural character with the barn on the left, and then the house facing the road in as low impact as possible. I think it's only 21. Pretty high, I think.
For the house?
On the street side.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then it drops down in the rear, and then it has a little bit of a well in the rear too, which gets down the basement level. It's the way it's symmetrical from an entrance standpoint. It's house would dictate this way, so open it,
All that walkout basement is on the, looking back into the property.
Yes, that's on the north side. Away from the street. As Luke said earlier, if you're looking at this from Pochik, it's 22 feet high. And it slopes back from there. I guess I'll just ask for the sake of asking, so that there's not this silence in the room. What are the trim colors?
they're all natural.
Really? Okay, that's good for me.
Natural, yeah. Sash or Essex green.
Okay. Thank you, Luke. Okay, who wants to start? Oh, let's see. Missing Carrie and we.
Stephen, on.
But
Oh, she-
Diane's on too, still.
Oh, that's right, Carrie.
I'm here, but Diane is.
No, sorry, Stephen. Yeah, you were there and then you weren't. Okay. Diane, you want to start?
Yeah, I need to see the elevations more better than they are.
You mean on your screen?
Yeah,
Okay, so why don't I come back to you while you're working on that one?
well, you have to work on it. I can't work on it.
I can't.
Can you see it change now?
Yeah, now it's better. I can see whatever elevation this is with the windows down in the basement. I would like to see the number of mulled windows reduced on that elevation. And if we just flip down to the next one.
That's the west.
That's the west. Okay, and on this one, which has got the gable, I would like to see one window up there, or these separated to go to the ends with some room in between them to balance out down below. So, and one more elevation will do it. There it is. Again, I would like to see not every side of the house with mulled windows. They're not my favorite things, and I think they take away from the classicness of the house to have so many. So other than that, I think it's a very simple house and would fit in on Pochik, but I would like to see the mulled windows reduced down so that every elevation doesn't have all mulled windows. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Diane. Abby, you ready?
Yeah, well, in this instance, I don't mind the mulled windows because they seem to be part of the style of this house, so I'm fine with the proposed.
Okay, thank you, Abby. How about you, Val Oliver?
I appreciate the stature of this, in the colors. I'm almost wishing there was more emphasis on a front door, but I suppose where you park, that's gonna lead you to where that mudroom door is, so not that big of a deal.
Okay. Okay, thank you. John, how about you, sir?
Yes, I have a question. I'm trying to find. Right here is a door.
That's the front door.
Who's sitting on the door here?
Yep.
Where is it?
The south elevation, John. Oh, do you want to know on the plan where it is?
Yeah,
Okay, so this is the first floor plan, so it's right there.
that's the front door. What's the other
That's the
door?
front door, because Pochick Avenue is down here.
Okay,
So
That's here.
that's that, exactly right.
okay, that's the one. Should be ready to have more wood than glass. So it doesn't have more glass than wood. Because it's the main, it shows that that's the main door to get in the house. That's the only door. I just questioned it. It should be a different size door to maintain showing that it's a front door.
Luke, you know, those cottage style
Yeah.
doors? They have like a 6 light, 3 wide, 2 high,
Yep,
and then larger panels below.
yeah,
I
we can do
think
that.
John's okay with that. Still
Yeah,
gives
you
you
only
the
got- Yeah, there's only one side door.
How about this, John? You know those cottage doors that look like this?
Make that wood.
Yeah. That's cool. You okay with that?
Small item, but it's not interesting.
We can do it.
That's my
Okay,
question. I think it's a fine design.
all right, yeah, and I appreciate the natural trim.
Oh, I did have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Front door. Is this retaining walls or what are these?
The wells.
Oh, window wells, John. Those are gonna be down at
That's
grade,
not the stairs going down.
just window.
Thank you.
I'm okay with this. I think that Luke's gonna be amenable to, oh, by the way, I appreciate the comment about the mold windows, but most of them are on the back and the sides, and that's not gonna be visible from Pochick. And I think that the front of the house, the south elevation is very small and unimposing, particularly with natural trim, so I'm okay with this. So would somebody care to make a motion?
I'll remember
Okay.
to approve it
Do you
when
want
you change it.
Okay, so John wants to have it with cottage style.
Okay.
All right, so the motion is to approve it with a cottage style front door. On that motion, Abby,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
you, Val,
Aye.
John on the motion. John's in and I am too, so that motion carries, okay?
So what is the cottage style front door?
You
Six
mean, what
light.
does it look like? It's
The
it's like a-
bungalow?
Yeah, bungalow
Okay.
style, yeah.
A barn.
I got a barn coming. Pretty tiny barn, huh?
So this barn is, this is a barn company set of drawings which, just like to point out that, the sidewall is not gonna be vertical.
That's good.
It's gonna be, white cedar shingles, and then it's gonna have all natural, trim again, natural doors. Green sash.
So the side of the barn faces Pochick, to the south.
Yeah, the side. Yeah. Outside, yeah.
You know, ironically, we get people requesting this barn board constantly, and in this case, it's absolutely appropriate.
And he's going to chicken.
I know.
Yeah, that's funny. Comments, questions on this one?
No concerns. It looks like a nice old barn.
Sure does. Yep.
What
Anyone
a
else?
barn really is.
Yeah.
You wanna give Young the option to do either one?
I think it is appropriate in this case, but let's see what everyone else thinks.
Hey, Diane, you have comments on this one?
No, it looks good.
Oh, okay. Do you have any, Luke is applying for shingle, but the idea of actually going through with the barn board as shown on the elevations. Val says it is a barn after all, and you could have that vertical siding.
I don't know if the owner wants to do it, but I'm saying if he feels like he might, would it be,
Okay,
would it be an option?
you mean he'd rather have the shingle right now?
I've been instructed to do shingles, but,
Let's stay on that.
okay,
And if he decides it's for some reason he wants to have the vertical board.
yeah, we'll stick with shingles.
Okay, all right, so Diane, it sounds like you're okay with this proposal.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it would be, if you wanted to do shingles on everything but the east, which is the front, sort of, and put the barn board there, and then the shingles around all other three sides might be a thought.
But it sounds like we're gonna approve it as shingle because that's the way it was applied for.
Right,
And if he wants to change something, he can just come back.
he could come back and ask for that east elevation.
Okay,
I'm
thank you,
all-
Diane.
I'm good
All
with that.
Great. Abby?
I prefer shingle. I think it would look really nice with the house we just,
Yeah.
okay, and I think the transom over the middle is
Yeah.
too much.
It's like up in the air.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Well, it's a bigger door, but I think I don't think you need it. But you probably do want the light coming in on the other one, so, I think it would be beautiful, no transoms, but obviously you want them. But I think I would nix the middle one at least.
The middle one does look funny.
I think because there's no phone it's connected to.
Yeah, maybe that's it. John?
Yeah, is this gonna be, white sheet of shingles?
Yes.
No board of that?
No, that's not what
It
it
looks
said.
that way, the way it's.
Well, they drew it that way, but he's doing shingle.
I think that's the fine. Thank you.
How concerned am I about that? You know what? It's a barn company. I got a feeling it's gonna look fine.
Yep.
So I'm all right with that transom. It's not my favorite thing, but I think I'd be okay.
Are you sure it was drawn right?
I think
These
it's
are the ones
a-
what I was given.
this is there's a taller door in the.
I mean, it looks like it should be down about a foot.
I think
Yeah.
it's supposed to be down. I think it's just a drawing error,
That would,
honestly.
can you just check into that? Luke, it looks funny that way, just sort of floating.
Motion to approve, so you-
Okay,
If you want.
very good. Can I just ask you a question? So with the barn board, they're not showing any casings or anything. I'm sure that with the shingle, you're gonna case it.
All natural.
But you're gonna have casings around doors.
Yeah, we'll have just, stock.
Yeah, natural casing, but they're casing instead of, see, right now it's
Yeah.
just boards going straight.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
note that on the drawing.
All right, so John has made a motion to approve this as submitted, so we should stay on that. So on that motion, Val, Abby,
So are you, we're adding the trim and the middle one's coming down to be corrected?
well, he's gonna see
The-
whether it's supposed to be corrected, but I'm personally,
I'm pretty sure it looks to me to be an error as well.
Yeah, just like.
Because the
bounced
others are sitting on top of the
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, okay, I'm okay with it, if that's correct.
okay, thank you. Diane,
Aye,
thank you, and John on the motion. All right, so that motion, and I'm in favor, so the motion carries. Yeah, we just finished up, number 5.
All right, thank you.
We just finished 5. That's it. That's all she wrote. We're
DUN, done.
Well, let's see. Anything we need to take care of before we adjourn?
No, Mr. Chair.
All right, so John has just made a motion to adjourn, folks. Thank you, everyone. On that motion, Val,
Aye.
Diane,
Aye.
thank you, Carrie,
Right.
John.
2:30.
It's 2:30-ish, I
It's
think.
2:46.
2:46.
Thank you.
You in
Yeah,
favor of your
favor.
motion? Okay, and I am too. Thanks, everyone. That motion carries. We're officially adjourned.
Okay.